Alright, and we're back. So we're talking about production here. So we'll go up to another one here on support equipment. And then we'll just set this on any extra factories we get going to guns. And I think we'll probably want to get up to 20 on tanks. So to talk about these choices here, so the reason we're going to grab motorized and support equipment is that this stuff is going to be relevant all game, right? Like motorized, the motorized you're going to put in your tank divisions and your support companies is just going to be stock motorized. You're never going to have to swap off this technology. So those lines are going to stay at maximum efficiency pretty much all game, and we're going to get a lot more equipment than if we had to start building these later on just by leaving it at 100% efficiency. Support equipment is the same deal. You're going to have support equipment doesn't change, never upgrade the technology. So when you've got factories at 100%, or I mean at maximum efficiency, it's 50% right now. Then you're going to get a lot more equipment off those two factories. And if you put two factories on, later on, and the same with rifles. Again, infantry equipment 1. I mean, you are going to want to upgrade that at some point, but it's not really a top priority compared to something like tanks or planes. So infantry equipment in 1936 will still be relevant up until around 1942. 1942 infantry equipment will completely shuttle over 1936 infantry equipment, and once you start approaching this horizon, you need to start to upgrade, but that'll be relevant for a pretty long time. So all of our production here for this stuff is going to be relevant for a long time. Artillery again is not really a great tech line. I mean, it's going to compete for tanks, for tungsten, and it's just not as good at attacking as tanks are. So we're not really going to invest too heavily. We only have limited research slots to go with. We're not going to invest heavily into artillery, but it is nice to have some for support artillery in our infantry units. It's pretty cost effective for that. And again, two factories on that. That's all we're going to put on it all game. And that's going to be enough to keep us with that support artillery in our infantry units. And recruit and deploy. So this is where we're going to look at our templates. So you have 12 width militia, which is pretty much garbage. You got your standard 18 width infantry that most countries start the game with. I'm just going to rearrange this so it looks a bit better. That's par for the course. This is going to eventually turn into our main infantry template. We're going to get up to 20 width and maybe throw some engineers in there. That'll be good enough. This over here, 18 width infantry, no support companies. Just change this icon to go with rifle. Support artillery and 12 width mountaineers is trash. Cavalry, this you keep around because it has high suppression for resistance suppression for your garrisons. Eventually, when you start taking territory, you throw some cavalry in there, and that's a bit more cost effective than using an infantry unit. Tank brigade over here. So this is a 20 width tank division over here, 6-4. 20 widths aren't as good as 40 widths for tank divisions, but they're definitely good enough for volunteer units. This will be extremely powerful compared to most Civil War units that other people have. I think this is probably the best starting tank division in the game that any country gets, and we start off with quite a few of them, as you'll see in a bit. And we've got 3 pretty good support companies on here too. So this is just real nice that we have this template. I'm just going to go and again rearrange it for my visual preference. And motorized division, this is again not great compared to our armored unit. Motorized divisions kind of have their place, but they're sort of a niche unit, and a lot of the times it's just easier to build more tanks. So we're just gonna scrap that. And then what do we have here? So put these guys together, toss them in an army, and we'll start splitting it out and see what we got. Is all the same? Yeah. Alright, so we've got 27 divisions of the 18 width infantry with artillery. You've got 3 divisions of Marines. You've got 16 divisions of just the 18 with infantry with no artillery. You've got 6 of those pretty nice tank units. 10 cavalry units. Again, we want these to be garrisons. We don't actually want these units in the field. 12 width units are not good. And we have 3 of these mountaineer units. So what we're going to do here is everything except for the tanks is to assign these together. We're just going to convert all of these for convenience to be the 18 width with artillery template. And then we're just going to go a bit of housekeeping. We're just going to delete these ones. You can't delete this one. I think this is tied to some units that you get that spawn by an event later, so you're stuck with that template. And so, setting up your army at this point, you want to make sure that you garrison all your ports. Again, because we know we're going to be subject to naval invasions by the Entente powers trying to reclaim their birthright. And also just in general, if you don't garrison your ports, sometimes the AI is not great at making naval invasions, but if you give them a free port, sometimes that turns out really bad for you. So we're going to need, it says here, at least 10 divisions to garrison our ports, and then the rest of the stuff will just try and organize these into full army stacks. So, and then let's toss these over here. Coast Guards. And we'll have to make more of those guys just when we start pushing to Germany. We'll be taking all these ports here. We want to make sure that we don't have any problems with that. And these guys over here, let's toss them under a field marshal and put them on a fallback line on the border. You want to be careful when you have a situation like this over here, where you've got, like you see over here, Flanders Wallonia is a puppet of the German Empire. So when we go to war with Germany and we declare war on them, they're going to have to call Flanders Wallonia in unless they flip to our side beforehand. And when we're at war with the Germans, but we're not at war with the Flanders Wallonians, that can really screw up a frontline order and cause troop shuffling, and you don't want to deal with that. So it's safest when you're trying to put troops on your board and make sure you're defended to start off with a fallback line. You don't have to worry about something messing with your frontline AI and your troops go leaving gaps open that they shouldn't only be declared war on shortly after. So we got that. Navy, we got 2 fleets here. I'm just going to merge these together and park them in Toulon over here. We're not going to be using our fleet. It's pretty tiny compared to some of the Kaiserreich Marine over here, Tom fleets. So we pretty much want to preserve it in case we need it for naval invasions later, or we need the destroyers to escort our convoys if we absolutely have to get try and protect our convoys going through the Mediterranean anyways if we need to import things from overseas. So we'll save those guys for now, and you can kind of see over here, you start with 12 battleships, you got 2 cruisers of the capital type, 8 light cruisers, 45 destroyers, 23 submarines. So modest navy. Air Force, not the biggest Air Force, but it's better than what a lot of people get, and it'll be good enough for our volunteers to help support them. And again, these are all kind of old obsolete planes anyways. So usually when I like to put my Air Force, I just disband everything. And we can make air wings of the proper size when we need to deploy them for volunteers. Free dockyards. Make some trade convoys. And again, if we're going to be using our Navy for anything kind of before we take out Germany, it's probably going to be for trade protection. So we're just going to build destroyers. Hopefully we won't need them. But we've got the dockyards, we've got the steel, so we might as well use it for something. So, researches and constructions and whatnot. So, usually when you're picking your researches, you want to grab things that are going to give you the most benefit if you have them early, right? So, something like a construction speed buff or a factory output buff. The longer you have those things, the more stuff they're going to produce over the course of the game, so they're particularly powerful to get. The other thing that's kind of useful to get too is if you research a producible. Like if you get ahead of time tanks, like the earlier you get your upgraded tanks, the longer you can produce them, the more production efficiency you're going to have, and the more modern equipment you're going to have when the war comes. So with that in mind, we're going to grab right off the bat. We're going to get our light tank number 2, and again we're using light tanks for volunteers, and that's going to get us into medium tanks. And the reason I want to go with medium tanks over here is if you look at our resource situation, hopefully we can get Spain onto our side, and then Portugal will be pretty easy for us to take out, and that'll give us access to their tungsten, and they've got quite a lot of tungsten in Portugal. And if CNT FAI, the anarchists in Spain, take out Portugal, we can trade with them across the land border without having to worry about our ships being sunk. Whereas chromium is going to be a little bit harder to get. And there are places you can get it, but once Austria joins the war, we're kind of cut off through Europe. That's going to be a bit more of a tall order, and we'll be vulnerable for interception. So I think medium tanks is going to be more realistic for us to produce than heavy tanks for that reason. Other researches, we're going to grab construction technology, and again, faster construction. The higher your construction speed is earlier on, the more factories you're going to build. They're going to be online earlier, and it's like an exponential growth. So construction technology for a major power, really strong. You want to make sure you get that real early. I clicked on the wrong slot there. If you're not a major power, you got like 2 civilian factories, and this is force multipliers. 0 times anything is still 0. So if your civilian industry is shit, you're probably better off picking something else other than construction. Machine tools, again, sort of same idea. Good for us, and we've got a bunch of lines that are already maxed out right now. So the sooner we get this, the more production efficiency we can build. And again, this is going to lead us into factory tech earlier on. And again, the longer you have those, the more equipment you're going to get. Same sort of deal though. If you have a country, you only have 1 military factory making basic guns, and these are very low value techs at that point, and you might want to save these for after you've got your extra factories from your focuses. And if you look at your industry tech, one of the first decisions you're going to have to make when you play your country is whether or not you want concentrated industry or dispersed industry. So concentrated industry is going to give you an extra 5% factory output every level. So there's 5 of them. You're going to get 25% on top of dispersed total if you go concentrated all the way down. But compared to dispersed is going to start with 5% more efficiency, and you're also going to get a conversion speed bonus and a retention bonus. So kind of the way this works out is if you're going to set your lines up, or you start with a bunch of production lines that already have maximum efficiency, you're going to get more output with concentrated. If you're changing your lines a lot, like you're going to newer tank models, newer gun models, or you have to juggle your production, or you're going to go with a conversion of older tank models to newer SPGs, the dispersed industry is going to hold retention and put more modern stuff into the field faster. And if you start a factory from 0% efficiency, they'll keep pace with each other because of the 5% efficiency bonus until I think the breakpoint is slightly under 2 years, where concentrated will start to pull ahead after the efficiency gap starts to close and you start to get to your maximum efficiency. Because we have, in our case, we've got a whole bunch of lines that are on maximum efficiency already, I'm probably going to go concentrated this run. But if you wanted to go, and France has a whole lot of, again, as we discussed, you got a whole lot of fighter ahead of time research bonuses. You get a bunch for tanks, and you get a bunch for your boats there too. So if you want to go dispersed and hard rush extra technology, then you can make the argument to do that. And I think you also get this over here too for upgraded infantry weapons and whatnot. And I think there's another modern weapons one that you can get modern equipment over here too for infantry weapons. So you can make You could be flipping a lot of these lines over here to newer guns and whatnot, in which case you would definitely want disperse to keep that retention going. And then our last tech is we're going to go with a doctrine. And again, doctrines take a lot of time to research, and the farther you are down your doctrine tree, the better off you're going to be. And there are no ahead of time penalties for doctrine, so it's not like you're going to suffer or it's going to be unreasonable to go to the next one. You're always going to want to be continuing down on your doctrine tree. So we're going to go with, I think, superior firepower for this part. So one of the other questions that people are going to have is, what doctrine should I pick usually? So mobile warfare is going to give you faster units, and it's going to help you with planning speed. And if you go down this path, you're going to get a ton of organization off your motorized. And on this side, you can get a whole lot of breakthrough. So breakthrough is like defense, and we can talk about this later from combat, but breakthrough is a diminishing return stat. Once you get to a certain point, more breakthrough isn't all that useful. So usually you want to go with mobile infantry, and then when you get to this point over here, if you need manpower, you go this way. If you don't need manpower, you go this way. That's basically it. And with the extra organization you get off of this path, effectively that means you can have a higher tank to motorized ratio in your armor division without having dangerously low organization. And having more tanks to motorized ratio is going to improve the overall damage and armor of your unit. If you're not making tanks, then mobile warfare is kind of why bother? Superior firepower mainly just gives you a whole lot of attack. That's its thing. Like all of the doctrines will give you a little bit of organization, recovery rate, and you look at some other stats. But like I said, this is a whole lot of organization over here, and superior firepower is the only doctrine that's going to really significantly increase your attack. Like you get here, all frontline battalions soft attack 10%. So important to note that frontline battalions does not include line artillery, and it does not include self-propelled guns. But everything else, 10% attack. This way over here, this gives you line artillery bonuses. Line artillery is kind of not great, so there's not really any reason to ever go down the dispersed side. Integrated support is going to buff your support companies so that they do more damage, and then you also take, depending on your unit, you're going to take less organization loss. Organization is an average stat, so the more high organization units you have, the higher your overall organization is going to be. But it's not additive like attack. So this will help you keep your organization high with a whole lot of support companies. And then when you come down to this way over here, if you have tanks and air, you're going to want this. And these are like really good buffs for tanks. 10% soft attack, 10% hard attack, and if you got an extra 10% over here, that's a significant buff to your tank units. And army, everything in your army, hard attack 10%. So that's good against enemy armor. The AI usually doesn't build a whole lot of hard units, so take that as you will. And then over here, air land battle, air superiority plus 20%. So if you got air superiority, this is going to increase the impact of that. So that's very nice for tanks and planes. And because, like you notice here, this is like all tanks. Most people are going to have tanks. This is everything in your army gets 10% soft attack. All frontline units 10% soft attack. Support companies bonuses. Most playthroughs are going to benefit from superior firepower in some way. Like whatever it is that you're going to be building, you're going to get buffs from superior firepower. Attack is always relevant. This will pretty much always be good. So it's sort of like the default doctrine of choice. And then shock and awe again. This is if you're not building tanks or air, then you might be better off going down this path. It's going to give you buffs to infantry and artillery and whatnot. So Grand Battle Plan gives you, if you come down this path over here, you're going to get pretty big boost to your maximum planning, and you're going to get pretty big boost from this first hit over here to entrenchment. And if you attack at max planning, or you defend at max entrenchment, then Grand Battle Plan is going to give you the highest overall stat buff under those conditions. If you're not going to be using planning, you don't like playing with battle plans, or you're going to be doing a more mobile war and you're not really going to be entrenching, then there really isn't a reason to pick it at that point. But if you're willing to wait and play in that kind of leapfrog play style where you're going to push with max planning, make some gains, entrench, wait for your planning to build up and do it again, then this can be really good at breaking tough positions. Grand Battle Plan is going to give you, if you come this way, you get Army Breakthrough 10%, you get Army Breakthrough 10%, and then planning also increases your breakthrough. So if you're going to attack with infantry waves and you want to take less damage doing it, then this is the best breakthrough you're going to get for infantry on this tree, going down the assault side. Infiltration side's kind of you get some nice benefits. You get supply consumption negative 10%. You get land night attack 25% is nice. You take a pretty steep penalty for attacking at night, so that's always welcome. You get some reconnaissance. I haven't really figured out exactly what niche I would ever want to take this in compared to anything else, but it doesn't seem horrible. But I don't personally see any reason why I would ever want to take this over one of the other doctrines on the infiltration path. Mass assault. So mass assault, you get supply grace, you get some out of supply bonuses, a little bit of entrenchment and organization. But what this really boils down to is if you come down this path on deep battle, you're going to get supply consumption negative 10%. You're going to get another supply consumption negative 10% here. So if you're fighting in a supply constrained zone, being able to put 20% more stuff into that zone is pretty powerful. You also get infantry combat width reduction. And what that means is that instead of having 10 infantry units and a 20 width, you're going to be able to have more than that by, I think, a significant amount. So your infantry line holding units are going to have better stats because they got more infantry in them per combat width. So if you have the industry to support that, that's pretty good. Doesn't do anything for tanks though. And then you get a couple other bonuses you can get elsewhere from this tree. Mass mobilization gives you really big bonuses to recovery rate and reinforce rate of your infantry. You see reinforce rate 15%, reinforce rate 5%, and so your resistance growth, more recovery rate, and out of supply. What this is good for with recovery rate and reinforce rate is if you have to do an organization wall defense and you're going to be sending in new waves to hold the front line, and then your old troops are going to de-org, fall back, they're going to recover fast, and you can kind of keep sending troops in to hold the line. And those stats are very powerful for that, and that's kind of what mass mobilization would be for, is if you're going to do an organization wall defensive strategy. So it's sort of a niche doctrine. But if you want to play that way, then that's certainly a viable strategy. The other kind of mass mobilization niche is again, you've got this one of the focuses over here, recruitable population 5%. So if you're playing as a country and you're not really going to be playing for the land war at all, you're just going to be making planes and naval stuff, then you come down over here. It's a shortest doctrine path, get 5% recruitable population, and then you can crew more planes and ships. So that's kind of the other use for this. And then finally, if you're going to do a lot of like really memey things, like try and paradrop people and get cutoffs, or make a cheeky naval invasions, try and get cutoffs, you get an extra 40. You get an extra 48-hour supply grace with this pocket defense over here, and you get some bonuses for being out of supply down this way. And if you have a couple logistics wizard field marshals that you can flip back and forth for the extra supplies ability, and you've got someone that has your general with a paratrooper amphibious for the extra supply grace, you can get like a pretty obnoxious amount of use out of those units without having them take any supply penalties. And you can sometimes, like if you get lucky enough, you can push in far enough and build yourself your own port to resupply your own troops. And that can be that's a niche strategy, but it is something that's out there. So that's your land doctrines. We're going to pick superior firepower. Construction. So usually what you want to build first, especially if you're on partial mobilization, is you usually want to build civilian factories first. More civs gives you more construction, which will make you be able to build more military factories later on. But again, because we don't have access to oil, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to build some fuel silos first. Go for about 6. And theoretically, it would be better to build these closer to where the war start is. We're going to need to stockpile, but I don't want to forget it. And if you forget to build your fuel storage, you're going to be in a really bad spot when it comes to to try and actually keep your planes and your tanks fueled and ready to go. So we're going to build some of those, then we're going to queue up a bunch of civilian factories. Just going to move this one because it's got the higher infrastructure at first. Yeah, so we'll go with that for now. It'll keep us busy for a while. If you do not start on partial mobilization, like you're on toaster economy or bullets economy, like you'll notice you get a debuff for civilian factory and military factory construction speed. In which case, then it makes a lot of sense to build your fuel silos first, or to build infrastructure first if you're going to need those things, or if you need naval bases or stuff like that, stuff that's not going to be subject to those debuffs, and that's a good use if you're stuck on one of those early game. National focus. So what we're going to do here for this build is we're going to go and we're going to grab specialist education first, and then we're going to grab our research slot. And again, the research slot is going to be more powerful the longer we have it for, so we're going to get it as fast as possible. Then what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to Communal Army, and we're going to grab our first 100% research for armor technology, and we're going to use that to get ahead of time medium tanks. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to get the fighter focus, so we're going to use that to get ahead of time fighter 2s. And then once we have that, we're going to just grab as much economy stuff as we can. Again, the earlier you get your economy stuff, the better. And then when we're available to get the second, or once we finish our second medium tank, we're going to try to line that up with the second research bonus over here. And our objective is going to be to have fighter 2s and medium tank 2s in production at decent efficiency by 1939. In time for our war declaration, and we'll do that with the Alsace-Lorraine focus. And then, of course, before the war, we're going to want to also make sure we clear our debuff for where is that? This one over here. Make sure we clear our inefficient intelligences debuff, and we're also probably going to want to pick up our Grand Army reform over here to improve our troops. That's going to be our strategy for the national focus order. This stuff over here, I don't think it's really worth it to trade for any of that right now. It would be waste of factories, rather be building stuff. Low manpower, nothing we can do about that. And planes in reserve, yeah, we need that. So we're all set up over here, and we can go ahead and start the timer. And Kaiserreich always, there's a whole bunch of events that pops off early games, so you're usually freezing up for a little bit. Let's bear with it. So event pop-ups. I'm not going to read this, but I will leave it up on the screen for a bit here. So if you want to pause and read it yourself, then feel welcome to do so. Of course, another iconic Kaiserreich event. President Kerensky has been assassinated. We will see how that plays out in Russia. Fall of Marceau Pivert. So that's our current head of government over here, which is unfortunately our factory speed buff. So he's going to be gone, and we're going to take a stability hit. But fortunately for France, we're going to get lots of stability after a few event changes that happen, so we don't have to worry about that. Mosley wants to talk with Valois. Again, I'll leave this up for a bit if you guys want to pause and read. And that's Mosley is the Totalist Union of Britain leader, and there's the Totalist event there. He's going to go have a little sit down. All right, so election day one, communal army. So this is where we get into our elections. We're gonna get our cabinet ministers. We're gonna pick our ruling party, and we're gonna get on the path for these things over here. So, like I kind of already mentioned, with this particular strategy that we're going to be going for, we were going to want tanks, so we're going to go with Paul de Gentilhomme there, Edward VIII. So new king of Great Britain, King George has died, and Edward is going to be taking over now. There you go, Edward. Interesting. Election day 2, Resignations Generaux. So this is going to be our this guy over here. I think that's our economy minister. I think I'm going to stay syndicalist this playthrough, so I'm just going to go pick the Travailleur. I think aside from the tanks, though, you could pick any of these guys, and the same strategy would still work. Internal security. Again, you got our different buffs over here. I like going anarchist with this one just because more stability is always good, and resistance speed growth is pretty nice to have as well. We get some manpower to boot, so I'm going to go with him. What you want to remember with these elections, though, is you get 5 choices, and you need to pick a majority so you don't get a hung government, which is going to be unfortunate. So you want to pick at least 3 from the same faction. Economic affairs. Again, you can pick any one of these trees that you want. For me personally, I think I'm going to go with recruitable population factor 6%. And for me, I particularly like the anarchist trio over here. You see, you get some building slots, and as France, you're having more building slots is nice. You can put whatever you want in them, and I think you're going to get more slots total. You don't get the factory to put in the slot with this, but you're going to get more slots total. And the longer you play the game, the more relevant that can be. You get a couple of civilians over here, but what's really nice about the anarchist tree is you get negative 5% consumer good factories. So when you'll see later on in the game, when you start to have like 100 civilian factories, and this is worth another 5 factories. When you start to get 200 factories, and this is worth 10 factories, and so on and so forth. So it scales really well. It's a nice one to have. But again, this is more of, in the shorter term, going with something that has more factory output and more factories total. Might be a little bit better, but this is a pretty nice buff to have. I'm just gonna go with the anarchists for this. I'm gonna pick an operative. This guy's got the best trait, so we'll go with him. Foreign affairs. I'm just gonna go with syndicalism again. Let you read that. Again, these are the buffs. Like I said, the foreign affairs minister is probably the least impactful of the 3. Nope. Afghan has declared war on Dominion of India. Who cares about Afghanistan? Am I right? Nope. Travailleur majority. So that's good for us. So we're going to stay syndicalist, and we have the option of Comrade Souverain, or we're calling Pervert over here. So Pervert was the guy who was giving us those really nice factory speed buffs. So compared to this guy over here, which gives you military factory negative 9%, and unfortunately in Kaiserreich now you can't change these anymore except by event manually. So we definitely do not want to be stuck with a negative 9% military factory construction speed. So we will be for sure recalling Fever here. And I'll leave this up for you guys to read for a bit. Pause and read it. Who cares about Afghanistan? And Black Monday. So a Konya Kaiserreich event. Berlin stock market has crashed, and they're going to have a real fucking rough time with this one over in Germany. But March predicted this day, and this is going to be real good for us. Sebastian Farr's resignation, so I can pick one of these over here. That's pretty terrible. Construction speed 5%. versus 3% factory output. This is construction speed 3% and factory output 3%. So I'm going to go with this guy over here. All right. Events. All right. Next national focus. So we're going to grab that research slot. Decisions available. We can develop the Union of Britain. I think we're going to hold our political power for now. Some more wars in China. So you can go and intervene in some of these wars if you want to. It's a good place to kind of practice your tank micro. Some of the ones in China, though, the AI can be pretty dumb, and you can wind up losing your units if they lose a war in an unfortunate fashion. So I think probably the wars that I'm gonna in the interwar period dabble in are going to be the Spanish Civil War, which there is a small chance that doesn't happen, and that really sucks for us if there's no Civil War. And it's going to be you're going to send some guys over here to try and help the combined syndicates. Like, we're probably not going to get the CSA to win, but we can help them get into a position where they'll be able to win. Gallo seizes control of Ecuador. That's interesting. Restoration of democracy in Australasia. Yep, some Entente politics. Australasia is another country that can flip to syndicalism and join our team. That's nice if that happens. Alright, and the Pope has died. How terrible. And yeah, you see how fast that war went over there. So you know, again, beware for that. So you know, and again, sort of the third internationality. Like you see, we got France over here and we got Italy over here. But you know, aside from like the Swiss or like the Netherlands or these guys over here that flip, some of the guys that you can get like in Brazil or South America or like Australasia over here that flip, or even Norway, are kind of pretty cut off from you, and it's difficult to support them, and the AI is not great, and a lot of the times they're just going to die and there's nothing you can really do about it. So it's best not to count on having a bunch of allies come to your aid for Wall Creek 2. You're going to have to plan on doing most of the lifting yourself. Alright, it's Third International, so here's our big money event. We're going to have our little sit down here with all of our socialist buddies and talk about how we're going to be smashing the bourgeoisie and doing you know, red terror in Germany. Congress will go ahead as planned. Some more wars in China. India is still at war with Afghanistan. That's it's a bit surprising. Alright, let's send out the invitations. And new pope over here. Let's see, which pope is that? Paternal autocrats. So that's not a pope that we're going to like. We're going to pick a French city, and let's see, where are we building right now? We're still building in Paris. We'll upgrade our infrastructure in Paris. All right, let's open the Congress, and we're going to get 10% stability right off the bat. You know, hooray for us. Chairman of the Comité takes the floor. You can read that if you want. We are definitely going to overthrow the bourgeoisie, and we're going to piss them all off, and we're going to get 20% stability, so it feels good. Syndicalism in Spain. Absolutely, we're going to support the CNT FAI in Spain. It's very convenient for us to have CNT FAI win, and we will make sure they do. Alright, so we got our... Oh, let's pause here. So we got our research slot. We're going to go here, and we're going to start, like I said, we're going to go grab that tank research. John Jack Reed in the CSA. Well, we only have one option, so yeah, we're going to support them. And again, USA is going to be real nice to deny to the other factions, and then also they're right next to the border with our hated enemies, the Canadians. So we're in Snow Britain. Yep, so we're going to be supporting John Jack Reed, and we've got our 5th research slot here, which we're going to use to get our fighter. Unemployment radicalism in Latin America. So we're going to support our buddies over in Latin America. I think that's going to be in the Central Americans over here in Nicaragua and whatnot. Women's role in the worldwide revolution. I know the Union of Britain has a women workers thing they can do. Yeah, we do over here too. And it doesn't say, I'm not sure if we have to support working women to get this, but I guess for we're gonna have a lot of stability anyways. Whatever, we'll just support them, and then then for sure we'll be able to get this. And this is a 3% factory output's real nice. Italian Peninsula, so they're gonna ask us to support our friends over here in the Socialist Republic of Italy. They're syndicalist as well, so yep, we will definitely help our Italian friends. And Comrade Sail Mohammed over here. So these are going to be the Algerian natives that the the legitimate French government over here is probably repressing brutally, and they're going to ask for our support. So yeah, we'll click that event. All right, Baharadia Commune asks for support. So this is going to cost us 50 PP with neither. This doesn't really matter if they dislike us or not, but for the roleplay purposes, 50 PP, it's not really a huge deal, but it is going to stop us from getting onto our like an industrial company earlier. I'm just going to do it. White Terror, again, a bit ironic for us Reds over here to be commenting on terror, but I noticed that used to be an option, you could say. And we must admit it would be hypocritical for us to condemn war crimes, right? Being revolutionaries that we are, but that's gone. We'll just click that. World economic crisis. It's an opportunity. Yes, it is indeed an opportunity to go give the Huns what for and take back our rightful clay. Cambridge Conference. Not sure what that does, but we're having a little powwow over in Cambridge, and we're going to pool our research. Not sure if that gives us a text sharing thing or not. I mean, we're in a text sharing thing, but I'm not sure if that's the event that does it. There we go. We're getting some more stability. So look at that, like stability, 84%, beautiful. And if you hover over that, you can see 84%. We're getting some pretty good buffs to factory output, dockyard output, and other things. Not as much as it used to be, but we'll take it. Certainly better than being in negative stability, which Germany probably is right now. It's, yeah, negative 67%. Feels bad for them, doesn't it? Harsh. And Nicholas Iglesias, TUC in Britain. He's going to be their leader. A radical socialist, so hopefully he doesn't split their country up and go for the geez. Let's see, where's that now? Yeah, you can split your country up into devolution. You're going to get Scotland and Wales released, and that's usually not very good for their chances of survival. But hopefully that's not what they do. All right, machine tools. So we're going to go right ahead and pick up our concentrated industry. Labor Day, 5 political power. I guess, no, we'll take that. Manuel Carles assumes full control in Argentina. So Argentina, we've got the Chileans over here, and they're syndicalists just like us, and they've got the Patagonians who are also syndicalists, and they're going to be squaring off against Manuel Carles's Argentina over here. And it's nice for us if they win, but not really. They're pretty far away, so it's not like a huge deal if Carles pulls through there. All right, that, and we're gonna go and pick up our land doctrine research bonus. Let's see what else is going on here. The Russians up to the Russians have gone social democrat. That's it's not something you see every day. Oh, and the Iron Guard is up to shenanigans in the Carpathians. It's like Ann King is 8th in Anjing click there, and now they're getting a little bit sandwiched between the left KMT and Shandong over here. Looks like the Dominion finally beat off Afghanistan there. So, alright, we got 2 more researches ready to go. We'll flip this over to our second light tank. Okay, so over here, like we've got this. This is going to be coming up in 8 days over here, in about 40-something days. So we want to have a slot open when that happens, so we can go right away into medium tank 1 as fast as possible. So the way it works with research slots here is that you can hold these, and they'll store up to 30 days of research. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to let that happen, and I'm going to do some tack flipping around over here to make sure that we get our tank out as soon as possible. And that'll hopefully line up with our research focus. So this one over here, let's go and get our research tack, and we'll hold this slot for our tank. Nope. So the Chinese are agitating. They're going to have a guerrilla war against Germany stage over here. And again, that's something that'd be nice if they win, but I'm not sure if I want to really commit anything over there. They're pretty far away. If they do win, though, you get some nice economic benefits where you can trade with them at a higher rate. Send some people over there to help them. Nice. So we're going to grab this, go into speed cult. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we just finished a land doctrine. So we're going to go up to this slot here, which has 19 days stored. And we're going to grab our second land doctrine from this. And once we get it, you see it's going to already apply 19 days to it, so we don't lose any research from having held that slot. And this slot can do the whole same thing for another 30 days, and our focus is going to be done in 31 days. So we can go right into tanks, and we haven't actually lost any research time. And we don't have to wait for another technology to finish to start working on our tank. Just a little bit of research micro there. Siam's new constitution. Siam over here, and let's see what's going on there. Looks like they're having a new constitution. I think I'm not sure if that means they dodged their civil war or not, but again, I'm not really concerned too much with what's going on over there. So for France, like I said, usually the war declaration, if you're not playing with France. Oh, you can read that event here. Let it sit for a bit. So usually when you're playing Kaiserreich and the AI is playing France, they're going to take the Demand Alsace-Lorraine focus. Usually around this time, so your Weltkrieg is going to start sometime between August and November 1939. That's standard. You can also trigger the event early. In France, as the aggressor, you get the option to do these things, right? You can troll Germany a bit. You can piss off the Swiss, and you can potentially start the war earlier. Or if you're syndicalist or totalist, you can just justify them manually at 25% world tension, which is usually around October 1937. So you can trigger an early war that way, and arguably it's better to do that because it's Germany is still going to be crippled from Black Monday. But like I said, for a new player, I want to give what a standard game would kind of be like. So we're going to wait until 39. Get some political power over here, nice, and we have 150 political power. So we can make our first change to one of these things over here. And usually the one you want to get first is the construction speed for your factories. And the reason you want that one first is, for the same reason you want to have construction technology first as a major, is that's the longer you have this, the better you're going to be, and you get exponential returns for it. And this is almost done. Alright, so we're going to go over to here, and we've got a full research slot to put onto our tank ahead of time. Yes, please. So we're going to do that. And we're going to go over here, and we're going to go get our fighter technology. War is going on. Oh, just in China. How's that looking? Oh, left KMT is having a good time. And that's and again, China doesn't usually resolve itself at a point where it would be kind of like relevant for us. But I mean, it's nice to see our our fellow socialist buddies over here winning in China for the moment, anyways. We'll see if that keeps up. Anking usually can be if Anking survives and they eat Nanjing over there, they can be pretty strong. Oh, more wars in China. The Mongolia and the Mongolic and Tibet usually have some things going on over there. Oh, I'm not sure if this is a standard war or not, though. All right, so over to here, and so we're pretty close to our second line of industry over here. Those techs are like barely ahead of time right now. 164 days is certainly acceptable for that. So we're going to go ahead and pick up construction. Bit of pop-up spam there. Right. Belgian Declaration of Independence. Right. This is one that's going to be directly impactful for us. As Belgium is going to be on our border, and if they leave Germany's team and join Edward's team over here, the Entente, that can have implications for us. So we're going to still make sure we need to keep troops on this border, but we're not going to be able to push in over there when we declare war on Germany. So we'll definitely have to keep that in mind. Good luck, Belgium. We'll see how that plans out. Alright, concentrated industry is done. Alright, so again, we want to make sure we get our fighter 2. Is going to be coming online pretty fast, right? We got 13 days over here and 42 days over here, so we got about 60 days. What we're going to do is we're going to let this slot build up, and then we're going to bump switch mechanical computing, and then that should hopefully give us a research slot open so that as soon as that research tech finishes, we'll be able to go into fighter 2 immediately. Belgium has joined the Reichspakt. Okay, so functionally that didn't really change anything. They stuck with Germany's team, so same thing going on. Congress of Varel. Not familiar with this event. The recent independence of Belgium from their former German masters, the inevitable question that arose from this was simple. What next? The two nations sent representatives to the tiny Ardennes city in Varel in German Luxembourg, near the border with southern Wallonia, and there the future path of Belgium and Europe was decided. Belgium and the Reich have agreed that, in exchange for the Kaiser recognizing the formal independence of Brussels, Belgium would join the Reichspakt, allowing the Germans to protect them against the aggression of the Commune of France. We'll see if that's going to work out well for them. It appears that the Belgians are willing to compromise their newly won independence in order to safeguard their future. Well, it's going to be our job to make sure that they do not, in fact, safeguard that future. We'll have to give them some extra red terror for that one. Alright. Fighter focus. It's like as you can kind of tell by doing these things over here with these little switches over here, it's pretty important to make sure that your research bonuses line up with your technology, so you get 40 days or 30 days of production on fighter 2s. When we have 20 factories on them, there's going to be a lot of fighter 2s, so that does actually make a difference. FOP requests manpower. So FOP are these guys down here in South America. And they're going to be facing off against Argentina, and it'd be real nice if they won. So what, we'll help them out. We'll send them that manpower and that gun. All right, we're now at our next 150 political power. So what we're going to do here, going to go ahead and grab our tank manufacturer. So you'll notice that a lot of these, even though this says heavy tank manufacturer, the bonus actually applies to all armor. Soft attack and reliability is pretty good. Again, I don't think it's really going to matter too much which one of these you pick, as long as it's going to be a bonus for actually medium tanks. Like this one is, you can see, particularly light. Soft attack is, again, the AI likes to build a lot of infantry, and soft attack is really good against that. And reliability helps with attrition, so that's nice. Armor is also pretty good on medium tanks if the AI starts building anti-tank, but usually they can't counter 40 width armor anyways. So and their units aren't all that hard. So I think this is kind of a waste. And again, this also, for the same reason, the AI doesn't really build very good tank units, so hard attack and piercing is sort of a waste against them. Breakthrough, again, we were talking about mobile warfare doctrine. Tank units probably already going to have more than enough breakthrough, so that's sort of also not going to be the greatest. Soft attack and reliability are always good, so we're just going to go ahead and pick this. When you pick these companies, these apply to tanks that are researched. Like, they have to finish researching while this company is active. So if we had picked that company after this had finished, we would get no bonus, and it would have been a waste of political power until our next tank model finished. And this is at full, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over to this slot for mechanical computing, and we're going to switch this over to industry 2. And then with this slot over here, we're going to set this back to mechanical computing, right? And so when we do that, we'll get to apply our saved 30 days to it. This is going to finish in 23 days now. 23 days, 23 days. Look at that, boom. Good to go. We're going to be able to go right into fighter 2s. Feels good. Arab War of Unification is kicked off. Alright, so again, we don't really have a dog in this fight. These are all Kaiserreich guys. Jabal Shamar and Nejd. I think, oh, Jack Ree got elected president of the USA. That's nice. I think that actually helps him out a little bit in the Civil War. I don't play the Civil War like super often, so I'm not sure if that's exactly the case, but I believe he'll be stronger because he was elected. Let's see what he can do. Oh, fighter focus is done, and we're actually a couple days off. That's fine. National focus. Fighter 2. National focus. Again, we're going to go grab our economic stuff now. Direction of economy. I remember reading that I think there was something about the Jabal Shamar focus tree that they can't actually progress down it if they win, like they get blocked out or something like this. Like this never unlocks for them. There's like a bug. So hopefully, I guess actually Nejd will win then, so that the whatever plays out over here goes fairly. No, and more wars in China. China's a pretty fun place to play too, if you're into chaotic early game infantry fights. Alright, and we're just going to keep on researching doctrines. The more doctrines you have, the better off you're going to be when the war starts. Bickering of capitalists does not concern us. Republican victory in Brazil. Looks like President Vargas. I'm not sure if history can join. I think he can join the Reichspakt. If he does, I think he's got the Estado Nuevo or something like that, where he becomes like a paternal autocrat as opposed to a Republican. Formalized state power. I'm not sure. There might be a decision that he's got to join the Reichspakt. Oil question. So this is a nice event. Like I kind of talked to you guys previously about how oil is a bit of a problem for the Commune of France. We don't really have access to land-based oil, and like I said, our navy's not going to be really comparable to the Reichspakt or the Entente Navy. So we've got scientists working on revolutionary oil. This gives us buffs to research speed. It's going to give us 75% fuel gain from refineries and increase our fuel storage capacity, and let us build refineries faster. So overall, this is a pretty cash money thing to get. Even with this bonus, though, refineries are still pretty shitty compared to having actual oil. Like I think the base gain. I don't know if it'll tell us over here. Yeah, the base gain is like 52, and that's because we have one of the techs researched already, but the base gain is 48 for one refinery that takes up a whole building slot. And like if you look over here, you get 52 from one oil, right? So if you can trade one civilian factory, that's already 8 times the oil almost of a refinery. So that's just kind of how bad refineries are. And then to make refineries like even the most you get bang for your buck from your slots, you have to research all of this. And all of this, and then if you need rubber, which we are going to need, we're going to have to get all of this to you. So it's like a lot of technology, and it's a lot of building slots you got to put into it just because you don't have access to oil or rubber. So it's like definitely a disadvantage even with this buff. Alright, direction of the economy. We're going to go and grab our civilian and military factories over here. We're looking 192 days on our tank. The early game build-up is always a little bit dull, but we should be sending stuff to Civil War in the USA in March, and then hopefully Spain will kick off not too long after, and we'll be able to do some tank micro. So with our next 150 political power, what we're going to grab is the fighter designer. And again, the most important stats for fighters are range and agility. So if you have access to a range and agility fighter designer, then there's really no reason not to take that fighter designer. A 5-year anniversary of the Geneva Strike. I'll just leave this up here for a bit. I think this is the one that kicks off the agitation in Switzerland, which we'll have a potential event chain for. Yeah, got that. And we're going to go and start picking up these construction speed buffs. Alright, so what do we want here? I think probably we're going to go grab our next set of machine tools. Stay on top of that, and we're going to grab our fighter designer. And again, getting the companies to make the stuff research faster, the faster you have it, the more stuff you'll be able to make. Feels good. Serbia crowns King Alexander II. So we might be getting some shenanigans going on in the Balkans soon. Standoff in America. Alrighty. Means we're going to have a civil war in America in about a month. That'll be a good spot for us to go farm some experience. And it looks like we're going to have the standard 4-way setup here. Let's see how that flips out. Alright, we're going to start on our air doctrine. So air doctrine, which air doctrine should you pick? I guess we can talk about that. So strategic destruction. Strategic destruction and operational integrity both have about the same buffs to fighter agility and your air superiority mission efficiency, I think. Yeah, if you go this way. Strategic destruction, like if you're going to get this over here, this is going to give you better naval fighters, and you get this pretty early on. So if you're trying to go for like control the seas from the sky, and you're really going to be focusing naval bombers and not much else, and you only need to invest a few techs to get this. Also, if you go all the way down, you get this really nice bonus to air superiority, like a second one. You get one up here too, I think, from this one over here, logistical bombing. This is going to give you a second bonus to air superiority, the impact that you get on enemy divisions from having it. So if you're mainly concerned with getting that air superiority benefit, then strategic destruction is the best. If you want to go for like a naval strike strategy, strategic destruction again is the best. And then also, I don't usually like to play with strategic bombers. They're a little bit cheesy and RNG, but if you want to, then they get the best buffs for a strategic bombing mission, whether or not you're using tacticals or strategic bombers. Operational integrity, on the other hand, like in the tree, you're going to get better ace generation chance, you're going to get better detection, and you're going to get more mission efficiencies. So if you're not as concerned about that air superiority buff, and you're more concerned with shooting down enemy planes and intercepting their bombers and stuff like that, then operational integrity is probably what you want, and be more defensive with the interception detection and whatnot. Battlefield support is going to give you your best buffs, obviously, for your CAS, your close airplanes, and your bombing missions for combat bombing. This is something I think you would only really want to pick this if you're going to invest so heavily into air that you're going to be able to have air superiority without the buffs to air superiority and fighters you get from these two trees. And you really want to try to win using the bombing strategy. If that's what you're going to do, then you would pick battlefield support. But for us, we're mainly going to be spamming fighters, and we're going to want the air superiority bonus, and probably we're going to go with the strategic destruction tree. And again, air doctrines, just like land doctrines, is you want to have as many of them as possible as when the war starts. All right, we'll talk about this here. Violence in occupied Haute-Savoie. So Haute-Savoie, Switzerland has some of our rightful clay, you'll notice over here. And I guess they're having a referendum about wanting to return to France, and they sent a military force to suppress the vote. So that's going to be that's going to take us off. Again, because I want to go with the 1939 declaration, we're not going to start shit over Haute-Savoie. But you can potentially, if we have a reconciliation, you can potentially get a nice buff out of that. National focus set. Alright, we're going to grab our next misdirection speed buff. And again, like the earlier you get those, the better they're going to be. I think right now we're at a extra 43%. So that's pretty good. It'll be 53% soon. Pro-syndicalist victory. Again, I'm not going to be trolling the Swiss over this, so we're just going to leave them alone for now. And you can read this event if you want to. Oh, and we're going to be getting pretty close to go time over here. So I think with our number of division counts, we'll really be able to send 2 divisions over, so we'll split our tanks up like that. And we're going to probably want to modify our templates when they're in combat to expand them. So what I'm going to do is duplicate this and just call this volunteer tanks. And the reason that we do that is like this division template is tied to this national focus here, tank division. So you get 3 divisions of those whenever you take that focus, and if you made changes to that, then those changes would be reflected in the divisions you get. So if we turn this into like a 40 width medium tank division and we take that focus, we would get, instead of these 20 width light tanks, we'd get a 40 width medium tank division, which is sort of an exploit. And I don't want to be doing that this playthrough. And we will eventually want to take that focus because it's a requisite to get down to these tank buffs. So yeah, that's why I don't want to be a filthy cheater, and that's why I also don't play with player-led peace conferences and whatnot. But if you want to really game the system, you can get 3 free really good tank divisions from that focus by using that exploit. So I want to check here. So we're at 96 days, and this is going to be another 20 days. So I think we'll have time for. Oh, and America's exploding. Oh, I just want to check that. So we've got 90 days over here. This is going to be another 20. I think we're going to be able to grab a 56-day focus, then another 35-day focus. That'll be tight, but I think you can do it. So I think we can grab another focus before we can do the tank research. Get our medium tank too. Alright, so this pops up. We are definitely going to support the CSA. And we're starting to have equipment stockpile. I forgot to show this, but when you switch your division templates over to this right at the start, you can wind up with an equipment deficit, which is why I didn't train any new troops to start with. But now that we've got some extra guns, we'll be doing this. Let's train 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's go with 6 at a time right now, and we'll just drop them in the Coast Guards for now. And over to here, so CSA, let's send you some volunteers. Send you 2 tank divisions. And we're also sending some air volunteers. So, again, the tank divisions are going to be really good in the American Civil War. And we're going to try and help the CSA knock out the Feds and maybe take New England up here and get across some rivers and whatnot. Like, I don't think with 2 divisions it's realistic to get them to win the American Civil War before when we're going to have to go to war. But you can get them in a better position. But our main thing that we're trying to accomplish here is we're going to try and get some experience for our planes and our tanks. And that's going to help us with our division templates and our armor variants. So that's usually your main goal in the interwar is to, if you need an important flip in the Civil War, like we want in Spain, then you want to win that, and you also want to make sure you get your experience for your variants and your division templates. Second Congress, there we go. For stability, I'll take it. Air stability is obnoxious right now. It's so good. Oh, looks like Princely Federation also. Looks like Osman went up to some shenanigans there. Decided he wanted to centralize. Well, hope he was ready for it. Oh, Puerto Rico. The Spartacade. Alright, our volunteers have arrived. The Spartacade, the Working Man's Olympics. This is a fun event. Hopefully we'll win. And there's both good and bad that come out of this. You can also get caught trying to cheat, and that hurts you a little bit. It's a nice flavor event. Oh, democracy in the Philippines. Peru-Bolivian Confederation restored. Well, that's usually pretty good for Peru. They're pretty thick now. Alright, so your volunteers are arrived, so we're going to assign them. Let's go dark red for CSA. Let's grab... So, when you're picking your generals, again, you got a few okay ones over here. Maurice Gamlin, he's got old guard, and old guard kind of having negative 25% leadership gain is pretty bad because you want your generals to learn traits. Same with this guy over here. This guy over here's got that too, but he's also got engineer and fortress buster. He's got extra planning speed. Traits you want to look for your attacking general and your field marshal. Fortress buster is like extremely good against forts, and the siege artillery ability is going to help you bust down forts that otherwise would give you a problem. That's what you want to look for. Obviously, for your tanks, Panzer Leader, Panzer Expert is really powerful. For field marshals, Thorough Planner for the extra planning percent is really good. And if you have terrain traits, usually the ones that are going to be best for us are Ranger, because there's a lot of forests in Germany, and Mountaineer, because mountain tiles are just atrocious to attack into a lot of times, and having a little bonus for that helps. Adaptable is one of the best traits in the game, and if you're able to farm a leader that has adaptable, then you definitely want that in your attacking guys. Terrain penalties are a huge part of what can really slow down your attacks, and having a 30% reduction to that is extremely good. Other ones that are kind of important to have here: Improv Experts. If you get Trickster and one of these terrain traits, you can get Improv Expert, and this is going to give you bonus movement, which is also great for your tanks to make encirclements, and it's going to give you Makeshift Bridges. Makeshift Bridges is an extremely powerful ability to get over rivers, which again are something that slows down your offensive a lot. So those are kind of the ones that you want to look for. France, like I said, this guy over here, he's got a Fortress Buster. I think you get some other engineers, and you've got one guy that has Panzer Leader already. This person has a terrain trait, so I mean, this would be okay. If you're trying to get adaptable or improv expert, try and farm this guy. Unfortunately, when you're using volunteers, you only get to send 2 units, and it's really difficult to get enough combat in to get your generals experienced and to have certain terrain traits. if you were going to go declare early wars against other people where you can send like a full stack of 24 units, then it's really easy to farm those traits, and it's definitely an advantage to do so. But right now we're just going to promote this guy to Field Marshal because he's got the Bunker Buster trait. Use him. And we're going to go with the guy who already has Panzer Leader. And we'll try and get them experience in the syndicates over here. We'll swap these over to volunteer tanks. And volunteer airbase, we can send 65 planes over there. And it's kind of annoying, so we can't create the air wings there, but we're going to go and let's go 30 CAS, or 30 interwar bombers anyways, and 35 fighters. Oh shit. Oh. Let me suggest control clicking for 100. There we go. Alright, and we'll put these on air superiority, close air support, and we'll attach them to this army here. Alright, and then again, once you start actually fighting in these wars and whatnot, probably you don't want to fight at 5-speed, just in case you want to get your tanks encircled. And over here, Washington looks pretty open, so we might just go and try and take that for boys in the CSA. Oh, next focus. I think we're going to get one more, and then we're going to go try and get the research grants. So let me double check on that. 74 days. 35. It's 91. Yeah, I think we can sneak one more in, and we can let the other slot build up for. We won't lose any research by doing this, I don't think. There we go. Just going to send our guys around this way. You don't want to attack over river, that's going to really hurt your attack. And go finish this guy off. So, you look at our combat bubble here, I'll just pause this. You can see, like, you've got a lot more attack than him, and, his, I think, what's our hardness here? Let's check our hardness in this template. I think it's like 45%. 52% even, that's even better. Probably because we have an upgraded tank model. So we're going to take 50% of this and 50% of that. So like his attack is going to be way under 100. That's not going to break our breakthrough. So we're going to block all of his attacks. We do more damage than him, and we've got an armor bonus. Armor, we only take half organization damage, half actual damage, and we inflict an additional 50% organization damage. So you can see that these tanks are way better than these National Guard units. So they're going to, even with these terrain penalties, we're going to have no real problem bullying them. Our oil situation is already starting to show some problems, though. I don't want my tanks running out of fuel, so I'm just going to go grab some trade for 2 oil, Azerbaijan. Alright, so we push this guy out. We're going to want to go into Washington, so we'll send one tank over to this tile over here, support him. He's already low on organization anyways. Nope, Finland is joining the Reichspakt. Alright, and we're gonna go. Or maybe they'll just walk out of it, that'd be hilarious. We can get Washington for free here, boys? Oh, looks like we might be stuck here. No, we're gonna get Washington for free. There we go, cash money. Alright. So hopefully the syndicates will hold that. We're going to try and clean up over here, so one less front for CSA. Another event here. PP plus 20, that's pretty good. I'll leave that up there for a bit so you guys can read it. And Labor Day. Nice, so we got lots of gold in the Spartacades. We're the clear winner. We're going to get force stability at 98%. So that's a bit superfluous, but you know what, we'll take it. So 100 PP, as soon as the American Civil War starts, if you want to be able to send an attaché to one of the factions, that's going to be without fighting an early war. That's the best way to get the experience that you need. And because we're syndicalists and we're best buds with the CSA, then they're going to have no problem doing that. If you're not syndicalist or totalist or whatnot, sometimes you have like a neutral opinion. Like if you want to send something to the AUS, they're not going to accept that. In which case, you probably want to spend some political power to improve relations with someone so that you can do that. And once your attaché is sent over, you're going to get 20% of their experience, and it also, as a side benefit, we'll also be able to see their combats and whatnot, which will help us coordinate better with them. Inauguration of the Second International Congress. This is the one in Britain, I think. No, they're talking about the Damocles Project. It's a syndicalist nuke program. I'll leave it up for a bit. American question. Yeah, I mean, we can go with the negative here. I mean, we've pretty much got all the stuff that we need from the time being for political power. So let's help the CSA there. And where are my volunteer planes? They're in New Jersey. That's probably fine. And see if we can get a cutoff over here. Chileans want some help. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh. Move another tank over to here. Oh, that's gonna be beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. Looks like there's a lake there. Alright. Do that. And King has capitulated, so let's take a look over here. Who came out? Oh, or no. They didn't capitulate, Left Campty capitulated. So it's a little sad for us there, but it's not too big of a deal. Go to the staff office plan here. So you have a bunch of units on this tiles like this. Sometimes it's better to wait for your planning bonus, and then it'll give you a higher attack stats and you push in to kill them. Grind in the meantime if they want to. Like if you look at these guys attacking you over here, they have like a breakthrough of 6. And in combat, every point of attack that you have over the breakthrough does 4 times more damage, or 4 times more of a chance to damage an attack with this block. So if you attack with a breakthrough of 6 and the units that have attacks in the triple digits, you guys are just going to get mulched. And the Baltic War. The Baltic War is over here. We've got the we've got a German puppet, and they've split up. We've got Latvia and Estonia over here trying to rebel against the Germans, trying to Germanize them probably. Unfortunately, that's going to resolve way before, and the Germans are probably going to crush that, and that's going to resolve way before the time when it would be useful for us when we were attacking. Alright, let's, I don't know why he's doing that. Let's push it over here. got some extra tanks and stockpile, so I'm going to expand these units a bit, make them a bit beefier. Let's see, what did we just finish here? On our generals, though, that sucks. Alright, next research slot. What do we want here? I think we're going to start... We don't want to fall behind on our refinery oil, so we're going to pick this up. Like, by 1939, we want to make sure that we have our refineries as upgraded as possible when we declare we're going to have enough rubber to support our plane production. And it looks like we're starting to win over here. Sweden joined the Reichspakt. Yeah, Sweden and Finland. That's unfortunate. Baltic brothers. Yeah, sure, whatever. Get some casualties on Germany. Oh, and there's Spain. Okay, so Spain is really important. So I think I'm probably just going to close the this pocket here with these two tanks. I'm going to focus my attention on Spain. You want to make sure 100% that send air volunteers and get some tank divisions. And we will send you some rifles, absolutely. Look at that. It's pretty low org. These guys are all going to die soon. Yep. Beauty. Alrighty. So it looks like we're getting maybe a bit pushed harder on this. I'm just going to dump these guys in Chicago for now. Air Doctrine. Let's grab ground support. And yeah, because we're not making any of those planes. So once we kind of run out of our older stockpile, then that's going to be it for us. 10 factories on this, and I think I'm going to want to start building some fighters. And then maybe some more sport equipment. Go up to 5 here, and we'll build 20 planes. Solidarity in Spain. I'll you guys read that for a bit. And our guys are still in transit. And what can we put into here? We got 63 planes we can send. Probably just send 60. 3 and alright, they're going to deploy and we'll attach those to our other volunteer army. I think usually in Spain it's best to try and take out the Kingdom of Spain first and then push the Carlists. Kingdom of Spain usually is the stronger of the two factions that we're going to be up against. And I'm just going to duplicate this again. This will be... with tanks. Okay, and like I said, we're going to go do that. We're going to grab our next tank upgrade. It's 35 days. And our medium tank finishes in 18 days, but we'll be able to bank up to 30 days of research, so that should be able to line up okay. Alright, there we go. Alright, so Field Marshal. I don't know, let's just go with I guess they're general actually. Let's go with someone who's got Trickster, and if we can get them Hill Fighter, that would just be, it'd be convenient for us. I think that's only this person over here. Misak Manu Chan or whatever, so there you go. And let's go with this person. Like I said, it doesn't really matter who you pick over here because you're not going to have, like, it's going to be really unlikely that you're able to finish off a trait. And air, give you interception. Attach you to. And what we want to do here is look for a spot to make some encirclements. This over here looks like it might be alright. Let's try for this. Nope, don't want to do that. Or maybe I do. Guess he must have been pretty low organization already. No. It's usually not a great idea to attack the mountain tiles with tanks. They don't do the greatest. We'll see if we can break through this hill tile here. And then maybe come around this way. Pin that guy. So the Swiss want to negotiate since Salviar crisis is over, so sure, let's do that. We can get a little buff off them. Make 5 units to that, really. 5 units, alright, we're not going to try that. Concessions from the Swiss. I think usually they will agree to economic concessions. We can get something out of that for free, so we're just going to go with that. Let's try and wrap around this way. And we will get, so we're going to get something out of that. We'll see. Prost. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Successful negotiations. We're going to get construction speed 7% on factories. Look at that. Civilian factory, yeah. So that's quite nice. Try and pin them over here and see if we can make a breakthrough on this tile. You gotta be careful when you're doing this because you have a tile open over here and they can. So it might actually be safe to move this guy over here. Try and pin that militia. Alright, so our tank is done. We're gonna let that build until our focus is complete here. And we're going to start building medium tanks. After that, decisions. Sure, let's help the Chileans. Try and come around this way. And we'll be on a port, so this isn't that dangerous. And we're gonna stop this guy from moving. Africa blew up there, I think. Is that it? Or no, it's the Portugal Bush War. Portugal doesn't usually do so great for that. It looks like Jabal Shamar over here did win. Were they able to get past their focus tree? Maybe. Maybe they fixed that bug. Oh jeez. Move to Gibraltar there. Make sure I don't get out of supply. Get for not paying attention. Alright, so this is done. We're going to grab next tank over here and continue with our economy stuff. Get our consumer goods buff. I think around this time too, because I've got the medium tanks being built, we want to start transitioning over to building military factories. How many cities am I at right now? 51, alright. 7, 9, 13, 15, 17. Let's see where else I have by infrastructure. 18, 19, 20. And see how that gets us for now. Swedish tank unit there. Cover some organization. Wait for these guys to stop fighting. I'm gonna add more tanks to the unit. Really nice if we can block off Malaga here. There we go. Now if you move over to here, should be able to lose that tile. Yep, some Patagonia, some guns. I want to move over here next. Yeah, we're going to do that. And we're running out of manpower, so the next focus we get is going to be the 3% recruitable population buff. Alright, we're going to try and get something over here. And in the meantime, let's expand these units up a bit. Let's go with that for now. Okay, we got oil processing done. What we want now. So, radio, probably, now that we're fighting in the volunteers over here, is probably a good one to get. I don't think I changed your template yet, did I? No. Alright, we'll move you guys back for now. And I'll push in again with them once they're at full equipment. I think we might want to try and come in this way and encircle these German troops if we can. What else is going on right now? Paraguay, Argentina. Got Australasia is at war with the Princely Federation. That's okay. Tibet, Mongolik, usual stuff in China. Baltic Estonian War is still going on. Second ACW. Bush War and Ecuador and Peru are at it again. So standard stuff, I guess. I don't think usually Australasia is at war with Princely Federation, but you know, okay. I think that might have to do with Indian unification going early. Although 1937 is pretty early for that, but alright. Revanchist propaganda, there we go. I was going to guess 3% recruitable population is going to solve our manpower issue there. I think in the meantime I'm going to cancel some of these units so that we can get manpower to our tanks. And how long is that going to take? 71% manpower. It's not going to be a date. 28 days. So we go a little bit faster. Dutch Revolution, that's good for us. So the Dutch have gone syndicalist. So, like, whether or not they go syndicalist is usually not that big of a deal as long as they don't join Germany's team. If they join Germany's team, then you know that's another real annoyance because what you can do if they're neutral, if they're on our team, is that we can push in this way over here and trap a bunch of units between this border and this coastline and get some pretty nice kills. Boston has fallen, so it looks like that's it's good for us. I think while these guys over there are re-equipping, I might grab these tanks over here and try and get something done. Well, don't even need to. Feds have already collapsed. Alright, these guys are pretty close to being full up again. Alright, we're gonna send you over this way. We're gonna send you over this way. Alright, Lafayette went down. I mean, that's predictable. I mean, it's always gonna be kind of a long shot that the Germans lose that war. I got tied down here for like a lot longer than I wanted to. These tanks, not great. Pushing this militia again. Push out that cavalry. We'll, hopefully we'll be able to kill off that unit. Nice. They can take this guy out and then we'll be able to kill that unit. Alright, nice. Are we on medium tanks right now? 41. So when we start getting to 100 medium tanks, I'll start putting them in these templates over here. So you might be able to push across this. It's like, yes, I will be able to. Pushing that guy maybe. Let's try and maybe kill this militia unit. So we see low org units like that, it's really easy to push him out. Am I gonna overrun him? No. He's dead anyways. There we go. And let's go for this guy over here. And then maybe we can even cut off these Alright, we got Revanchist propaganda. And I think we're just gonna go grab more industry. I think probably about this time we can go up to I don't think we're gonna need extensive conscription yet because we just got 3% from Revanchist propaganda. We're gonna go and grab our armor officer here. And medium tanks still. Do I have enough tungsten right now for my tank lines? No, I do not. Definitely want to trade for tungsten. We'll get them from the Bayratia Commune. Going to trade with your syndicalist buddies. Let's just go over here. That airbase. From this guy. We'll come around this way. You know, I think we can actually just walk into this port tile here. That'll be fine. Pin this guy. think I might hold that for, I think we can get another 100 army XP together. Kill this guy. We'll be able to, 30 days. Maybe. Guess we can get the doctoring with the 100 XP speed buff. And alright, so this is looking pretty good for CNT FAI right now. Got Madrid. Where's their capital? Huh. I don't see one for Kingdom of Spain. That's weird. Well, it looks like we're going to do it though. Need 8 more XP. Be able to bump that doctrine. Alright, and they have capitulated. So now we just gotta go kill the Carlists. And if you're really trying to play like, I guess super optimized, you'd like go over here and you would play on like 1 or 2 speed and you try to micro both these fronts at the same time, but I'm not, I don't really feel like doing that today. So we'll just try and win in Spain right now. Let's see. Oh, that's a little bit trippy. Let's try and push this militia out. Lock those guys down. Let's keep on pushing this guy, and these guys are low org. We'll try and push them out too of that city. Well, and we got our 100 XP, so we're going to pick up integrated support. Might be too, well, we'll see. Looks like I'll be able to get that, yeah. No, they said that reinforcement. Let's see if we can knock him out before his reinforcement roll passes. We get lucky? We get lucky? Come on. No. Still? And you can see we just take so little damage from them that, like, we've been on low org for like such a long time, and it looks like we still